Please respond. Yeah.
Not able to see.
Yeah, dear students, today we are going to talk about verb because I told you about verb. Verb plays a vital role. In the last class or in the previous class, we discussed the subject. Now we are going to talk about verb because verb plays a vital role in any sentence. Okay, so well, before going to verb, we have to understand what verb is, how verb is used in a sentence, what is the role of a verb, and what are the different kinds of verbs we find, and what is their role in a sentence. Today, first, let me introduce the verb to you. As we all know that verb is an action word. So whenever somebody is asked to say what a verb is, they immediately respond saying that verb is a word which refers to the action done by the subject. That's right. But
Hemavardhan, off your video.
What happened, Akka?
If you not on your video, brother.
What?
no, Hemavardhan, please switch on your switch off your video. Only through audio you please listen.
Yes,
Okay, right.
yes, sir.
So first let us look at these three sentences. She is a teacher. And sentence 2, she is teaching English. And the sentence 3, she is given a warm welcome. In all these three sentences, we are able to find one word which is common, that is ease. So when you say that verb is a word which refers to the action, if you look at sentence 1, she is a teacher. Is there any verb at all here? We say that is a verb. But according to our definition, is it doing any action at all? That's a big question to understand about verb. So we can slightly modify our definition saying that verb refers not only to an action but also to some other things performed by the subject. So here, when you look at this sentence, she is a teacher, we are able to see only one word is playing a role of a verb but without doing any action at all. But still we identify this as a verb because this is a word, is a word here, which gives us some information about the woman, the lady. What is she? What is her profession? What is her status? What is her condition? So it's giving some kind of information about the lady that we are talking about. So we have to slightly modify our definition of a verb. Verb refers to, or verb gives some information about the subject. Like what kind of information it is? It gives, it tells us the status, the information, the profession, and also the age, the condition of the subject. For example, whenever we talk about our self-introduction, usually we use the words like I am. We say, I'm Dr. Mallikarjuna. I'm a professor of English. I'm, 40 years old. I am working in government city college, Nayapur, Hyderabad. So what we find here is we are repeatedly using the word am here, and this am we are using to give information about I. When I say I am Dr. Mallikarjuna, I am giving my name. I am a professor of English. It talks about my profession. I am 40 years old. It talks about my age. So that's how, you can use a verb. So here in sentence one, we are able to find is as a verb, though it is not performing any action, but it tells us about the information about the subject. That's why it is considered as a verb. Now let's come to sentence 2 and see. She is teaching English. When you look at this sentence, she is teaching English, here we are able to find two sentences. As per our previous definition, we are able to find the word teaching. Of course, it refers to the action. That's why our previous definition of verb tallies here. What is that? It refers to the action. Fine. But along with the verb teaching, we are able to find one more verb, that is. Then what should we consider this as? When you say teaching is verb, then what is? Is also verb. So we can say a sentence can have two verbs simultaneously, and one verb refers to the action, the other verb, that is, refers to the time of the action. What do you mean by the time of the action? From the word is, we are able to understand that the action we are talking about is going on right now. For example, she is teaching. Because of the word is, we are able to understand the action is going on right now. And because of the word teaching, we understand the action is in progress. So the verb teaching refers to the progression of the action, and the verb is refers to the time. Suppose let us substitute this with words. For example, she was teaching English. Then we understand it was an action of past that was going on sometime in the past. Suppose it is she will be teaching English, then you understand that here teaching is a progressive action, will be, it refers to future. So you can change this. This is flexible, whereas the verb teaching is constant. Why is it constant? Because it refers to the continuity of the action, whereas the other verb, which is changeable. Why is it changeable? Because as it refers to different times, so also its form is changing. When you refer to present, you are using is, refer to past, was, refer to future, will be. So we understand that when this sentence, she is teaching, has two verbs, the verb teaching is a main verb. Main verb is the one which refers to the action, and the verb is refers to the time of the action. That's why it is known as helping verb. There could be, or there are two verbs in English language, namely main verb and a helping verb. A main verb refers to the action, and a helping verb refers to the time of the action. From the sentence, she is teaching English, we can understand here is helping verb because it's not performing any action, but it refers to the time of the action. Whereas in the previous sentence, she is a teacher, we are able to find only one verb, that is. That's why it is both main verb and also a helping verb. As a main verb, it gives information about she, and as a helping verb, it also tells us that she is a teacher in the present. There could be a sentence like, she was a teacher. We understand that she happened to be a teacher some time ago, but not now. She will be a teacher. From this, we understand that she is going to become a teacher as she is pursuing her B.Ed right now. So what is that? The change that we are able to find here is she is, she was, she will be. As a helping verb, it is undergoing the change, but as a main verb, it is constant to give the information about the subject, the same information in the present, in the past, and in the future. Whereas, let us come to sentence 3. She is given a warm welcome. Here also, just like sentence 2, we are able to find two verbs here. One is given, the other is. Whereas the verb forms are different from sentence 2. In sentence 2, we found the verb teaching, that was a continuous verb. Whereas here, we are able to find a different verb form which refers to a perfect tense. Whereas the helping verb again is and also given. Given is main verb, is helping verb. From sentence 3, what do we understand is that here simultaneously we are talking about the functions of the different functions of a verb. In sentence 1, we are able to see verb performing the action, performing the role of giving information about the subject. In sentence 2, it is giving information about what the subject is doing. In sentence 3, we are able to find what the sentence is received. For example, when you say she is given a warm welcome, from this what we understand is that here she is a receiver but not a doer. In sentence 2, she is a doer, that's why she is performing the action of teaching. In sentence 3, we are able to see the same subject receiving the action by someone else. She is given a warm welcome by all her colleagues, by all her classmates, by all her friends. So here, she is a receiver and the doers are different. So when the verb can also tell us about what the subject is receiving. So these are 3 important functions of a verb. Are you able to understand, Ma? Hello? Are you able to understand?
Yes, sir.
Right. Now, I would like to tell you about the types of verbs. So basically, as we discussed in the previous slide, we understand that there are 2 types of verbs in English language, namely main verb, and also it has a different name, that is principal verb. So what is a main verb? A main verb always denotes or expresses the action done by the subject in different times. Different times means different tenses, like present, past, future. So main verb is a verb which tells us about the action done by the subject in different times. Like, for example, that's why a main verb could have different verb forms. Like, for example, if you just see here in the slide, you are able to find V1, Vs. If you just see these 2 words, in V1, this is called base form or dictionary form, that is go. Whereas in Vs, we are adding here either yes or is. Whenever you add yes or yes to V1 form, it is known as Vs. These V1, Vs forms are used in simple present tense. And whereas there is another verb form that is known as V2. V2, here if you just see the V2 form of go is went. So V2 form is always used to refer to past tense or simple past tense. Like V1, Vs are used to refer to simple present tense. We talk about V2, we use V2 to talk about, or for simple past tense. And the other verb form is V3. So V3 form of that verb is gone. Say, for example, go, goes, V1, Vs, V2 form is went, and V3 form is gone. And this gone is V3 form, which is used in all perfect tenses like present perfect, past perfect, future perfect. Whenever you are talking about a perfect tense, you will use only V3 form. In past tense, you will use V2. And we have another verb form that is known as V4 form, wherein you will add ing to the V1 form, thereby it emerges as going. For example, when you add ing to go, thereby go plus ing, going. So this going form is known as V4 form, which is always used for continuous tenses. Say, for example, present continuous, past continuous, future continuous tenses. Like present perfect, past perfect, future perfect, we use gone. For continuous tenses, present continuous, past continuous, future continuous, we use V4 form. Like this, every main verb or a principal verb will have these different 5 verb forms, namely V1, Vs, V2, V3, V4, that one must invariably learn in order to become perfect in one's English language. If you want to become very fluent, if you want to use language accurately, you should be thorough with all these verb forms. Then only you can keep changing from present to past to future, future to continuous, continuous to perfect, like you can keep changing. So the second verb form is known as auxiliary verbs. Auxiliary means helping. So like we have previously, we have seen that she is teaching. So teaching is a main verb and is helping verb. When you say helping verb, we have understood that a helping verb always refers to the time of the action. In order to refer to the different times of the actions, we have 24 auxiliary verbs. How many auxiliary verbs are there? 24 auxiliary verbs are there, which are divided into two parts, namely primary auxiliaries and modal auxiliaries. Primary auxiliaries are 11 in number and modal auxiliaries are 13 in number. You can see them clearly here. So primary auxiliaries are am, is, are, was, were. So these 5 are known as B forms. B means am, is, are, was, were. 5 B forms are there. Has, have, had. These are known as have forms and also verbs of possession. These are known as verbs of possession, have, has, had. So 5 plus 3, 8, and verbs of do, does, did. So put together, we have 11 primary auxiliaries. Am, is, are, was, were, have, has, had, do, does, did. These are 11 primary auxiliaries. The remaining 13 are modal auxiliaries. On what basis these are divided into primary auxiliaries and modal auxiliaries? Primary auxiliaries means there are 11 primary auxiliaries which are used both as main verbs and also as helping verbs. What do you mean by main verb? Main verb means it should give us some information. And what is a helping verb? As a helping verb, it tells us about the time of the action. For example, if you just see this previous slide, you are able to find once again sentence 1. If you see, she is a teacher. Here, we have only one verb, that is. It is both main verb and also a helping verb. It's a main verb because it gives information about she. What information it is giving? It tells us that she is in the profession of teaching. And from this, also we understand that she is a teacher at present. So it is playing two roles. One as a main verb, it gives information. The other as a helping verb, it tells us that she is a teacher in the present. So that means all these 11 primary auxiliaries are used both as main verbs and also as helping verbs. Whereas if you just see the other 13 modal auxiliaries, these modal auxiliaries are used only as helping verbs but not as main verbs. But they have a specific feature. What is that specific feature is, as modal auxiliaries, they not only refer to the time, but also they express some more to the sentence. I mean, they add meaning, some more meaning to the sentence. For example, I can say, I shall come tomorrow. I will come tomorrow. I can come. I shall do, I will do, I can do, I may do, I should do, I would do, I could do, I may do, I ought to do, I might do, I must do, I need to do, I dare not do it, I used to do it. So when you use the same, with the same subject, you can use all these modal auxiliaries, but each modal auxiliary has a different meaning to convey. For example, if you say, I shall do, you are referring to only future possibility. When you say, I will do it, you are so determined and you are willing and you are very strong about doing it. It means that you have a lot of interest in doing that. That's why instead of saying, I shall do it, you say, I will do it. I can do it. It refers to your ability, not only futurity. Along with futurity, you also express ability here. And similarly, if you say, I may do it, you are expressing only probability, but you are not giving any certainty here. I may do it. Only 50% probability you are expressing. When you say, I should do it, it's your obligation. I would do it, it is your interest. I might do it, it is very, very remote and less possibility than me. I ought to do it, it is your obligation, duty. I need to do it, it is your necessity. I dare not do it, it shows your lack of courage. I used to do it, it talks about your habit in the past. So you might have noticed from all these auxiliary verbs, especially modal auxiliaries, do not only refer to the time of the action, but they also add some more meaning to the sentence along with main verb. There will be one main verb already to refer to the action, but through a modal auxiliary, you are trying to add some more meaning. Is it clear? Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Now let us look at some examples.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Are you able to see the screen?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Let's see some. Yeah. Let's see some examples here. I'm writing a book.
Okay, sir.
Hello.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. I'm writing a book. Where is the auxiliary? Am. Am is the helping verb. Writing is the main verb. He has done. Has is helping verb. Done is the main verb. We will be there. Will is helping verb. Be is main verb. Would you help me? Would is modal auxiliary. Help is main verb. Can you open the door? Can is a modal auxiliary. Open is a main verb. Did you visit? Did is a helping verb and visit is main verb. Do you like? Do is a helping verb and like is main verb. Now let's go to the use of be forms. What are the be forms? Am, is, are,
Was, were.
yeah, these five are verb forms, right? Now So in this verb form, be form, we are going to understand how be forms are used. Be forms are used both as main verbs and also as helping verb. So, and these helping verbs tell us the time, and as main verbs, they give us information about the subject. For example, if you say, I am a teacher, it tells us about the profession. I am 40 years old. It tells about the age. I am professor. It tells about my profession. So B form gives information about the subject. Understand? That is the first use of B forms. B forms always tell us about the information or about the status of the subject. And the second use of the B form, say for example, I'm writing notes. For example, I am teaching grammar. Here, I'm using B form to talk about the continuity of the action. So B forms are used always in continuous tenses: present continuous, past continuous, and future continuous tense. We use am, is, are, was, were, will be, and shall be. For example, you are all listening to me. So the action is going on now. So the be form is used to talk about the continuity of the action. And in the B form, B forms have got three different uses. Number one, it gives information about the subject as a main verb. As a helping verb, it helps us make continuous actions. And in the third one, B forms are used to talk about what the subject received. Say, for example, she was beaten by her husband. So when you say she was beaten, she did not beat him. Instead, she received beating from the husband. It is the husband who beat her. That's why she was beaten by the husband. So here, the be forms are also used for passive voice to tell us about what the subject received. Now let us go to have, has, had. In the have, has, had, these are also main verbs and also helping verbs. As main verbs, have forms always refer to possession. What do you mean by possession? Possession means ownership. Whenever you are a owner of something, whenever you say something belongs to you, you say that I have. Say, for example, I have a class today. I have a flat in Hyderabad. I have so many friends. I have two siblings. So it all shows the possession. She has lot of jewelry. She has a regular class in the evening. She has a own house in Hyderabad. Okay, that's how whenever you want to say that you have something, you can use have, has. And similarly, if you want to say in the past what you had, you can use for example, had. For example, you can say I had a bike last year. It means you don't have it now. I had a class yesterday. It means you don't have now. You are referring to what you had in the past. I had a class yesterday. I had a bike last year. Now I have a car. Say I have a car in the present. I had a bike last year. I will have another, high-end car next year. So I have a car right now. I had a bike last year, or I will have a high-end car. Or you can say like this: I had a bicycle. I have a bike now. I will have a car next year. It shows that you have something in the present, you had something in the past, and you are going to have something in the future. Similarly, this have, has, had can be used as helping verbs along with V3 forms to talk about perfect tenses. For example, I have received a letter just now. Here, received is V3 form, have is a helping verb. So, I have received is present perfect tense used to talk about the actions that happened in the recent past. I have received a letter just now. Just now, I have met him on the road. Sometime, recently, I have met him in the park. So here, I have met him, she has received, I have received is a perfect tense. And the last item you can talk about is do, does, did. Do, does, did, these are also, helping verbs which are used to make statements, negative statements, and also to ask questions. For example, I teach English. If I want to make this negative, I don't teach English. She sings songs. She doesn't sing songs. She wrote a novel. She did not write a novel. If I want to use past tense, then I will go for did. If I want to use present tense, I will go for do and does. Does with he, she, it, and do with I, we, you, they in the present. Did can be used with all. Say, for example, she sings, she does not sing. I teach, I don't teach. I wrote, I did not write. Negative sentences. You can also ask questions. For example, I teach English. If you want to ask, do you teach English? Does she teach English? Did he join the class? Did he come late to the class? Did he learn English? Like this, if you want to ask questions, you can use do, does, did. If you want to make negative sentences, you can use do, does, did. That's how all these primary auxiliaries 11 are used. Just be forms, have forms, do forms are used for this purpose. Of course, the remaining auxiliary verbs we can, of course, see in the next class.
Sir,